Welcome back to Speaking with Confidence, the podcast that helps you build the soft skills that lead to real results. Communication, storytelling, public speaking, and showing up with confidence in every conversation that counts. I'm Tim Newman, a recovering college professor turned communication coach, and I'm thrilled to guide you on a journey to becoming a powerful communicator. If you've ever wondered what a true servant leader looks and sounds like, stay tuned for today's guest. Today's guest is Chris Johnson. Chris is a sales and leadership coach who helps business owners and sales teams increase revenue, communicate with confidence, and lead under pressure. With over a decade of experience in high-performance sales and building multi-million-dollar organizations, Chris equips people with practical frameworks they can apply immediately to close more deals, build stronger teams, and create lasting momentum. Chris, welcome to Speaking with Confidence, bud.
Hey, man, glad to be here. Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate you.
I talk about servant leaders, and we the group that we kind of hang with and learn from and mentor each other in. That's what we all try and be. And I truly mean that. The way that you serve others and help them is really kind of beyond measure. And I want to thank you first and foremost, and let this community know how much your friendship and your leadership has meant to me in the short time we've known each other.
Well, I feel the same way. We literally have been on Zoom calls together for over a year. And then we literally got to eat dinner one time last year in August. And, it's just epic, to come together and meet people in person and build that camaraderie. And so I really appreciate your friendship. And I look forward to seeing what God's going to do with this.
I think he's got big plans. That's the one thing we've got to let our plans go to the side and follow his plan for us. Sometimes it takes us in places we had no idea we were going to go. But let's talk about what you're doing. You work with leaders and entrepreneurs and really high performers. And when it comes to communication, what's the real problem that most people don't realize that they have yet?
The problem most people don't know they have with communication is it's really quite simple. They actually think it happened.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And so let me clarify. So if you say something in a way that doesn't resonate or reside in the memory of the person you're saying it to, you did not communicate. You might have talked, but communication is only done when something's received.
Right.
So one of the biggest problems with communication is most people think it happened and it didn't.
Right.
One of the ways that you can improve that is by understanding the personalities of the people you're talking to. So I can say things 4 different ways. So, we teach the DISC personality training, right? The D, I, S, and C. And so if you've got a dominant personality, you can say the exact same thing to him that really, really resonates. Take the same thing you said to him, and if you say it to a high S personality that's real sensitive, they're real systematic, they're real loyal, they're kind-hearted, they're gentle, they're non-confrontational. But if you say it to them the exact same way you said it to a high D personality, you're going to offend them and they're not going to receive it. So that's the biggest problem, not knowing who you're talking to.
Right. And that goes to any type of communication, right? I mean, it's whether you have kids, whether you're, in a job interview, a networking event, a team meeting, it doesn't really matter. You have to understand who that audience is and where they're coming from. And sometimes I get it. It's hard. And sometimes you've got to step into a space that you're really uncomfortable with to be able to communicate with that person or that group of people. But that's what really has to happen. And you have to start getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and stepping into those spaces and learning how to do that. I just read, Tim Elmore's book, about a month or so ago, and he makes a really good point that when we talk, we should talk like we're right. We should talk with that confidence that we're right. But the big thing I think people also miss is the listening part. And what he says, we need to talk like like we're right and we're confident, but we need to listen like we're wrong, and
Yeah.
be open to some of that feedback, or some of the things that other people are saying. What's your view on listening, and your level of importance of listening when you talk about communication?
So I'm a sales trainer. Um,
Mm,
First and foremost, that's what I do. I teach people how to sell. And the biggest part of selling is listening. The biggest part of understanding people is listening.
mm,
The biggest and most important thing for human beings is to be heard
mhm,
and understood. And when you feel heard and understood, you actually will reveal more information. You'll let your guard down. You'll
mhm,
become more transparent. But when you're not heard and understood, you'll put a guard up. You'll be defensive. You'll be standoffish. And so listening is a really, really big deal. And here's a motto that I use, and it's a methodology that if you ever get a hold of this statement, it'll change your life for the rest of your life. Every person on earth you meet is your superior in one way or another.
mm.
And it is your job to find in that way and learn from them.
Say that again,
So I'm going
please.
to say it one more time. Every human being on earth is your superior in one way or another.
Mhm.
It is your job to find that way and learn therein.
'Cause that's a powerful statement and very thought provoking.
How did that statement make you feel?
That it gave me chills, and here's where I went with that, okay? And I've told the story a couple times, but this past summer, we were on family vacation, and it was my daughters and their families and their grandkids, and the day comes, we gotta pack up the house to go home, and I'm playing on the floor with my granddaughter. She's 5, and my wife and I are teasing each other, and my wife shoots back to me, "Shush." And my 5-year-old granddaughter, this is what she said. She said, "Don't you shush, pops." And what that statement tells me is even at 5 years old, she understands that you've gotta let people talk. And other people need to listen. And she didn't get the whole teasing piece, but she understood and how that made her feel, because she was serious when she said that. It wasn't a joke. And, if a 5-year-old can get that, and think about that statement that you just said, why do we lose that as we get older? Why do we lose the openness of listening to other people and what they have to say, and learn from those other people as we get older? That's where that statement took me.
Well, think about what you learned from your granddaughter at 5.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you really honestly say that your 5-year old could teach you anything?
No,
No,
no.
but she
Mm-mm.
did in that moment.
She sure did.
And so
Mhm,
think about that in every walk of life. Everybody we meet that we think we're better than, we think we're smarter
mhm.
than, we think we don't need them in our life, they have something that they know that we need to know.
Right.
And we got to figure out what that is. And if
W
we'll go into every conversation as a student, not a
Mhm.
teacher, we will literally transform our life.
Exactly. You will. And, you and I had a conversation last night, um, as we're doing some other things, and I had a dinner with another client. He's going through some things in the organization that he's with, and big finance things, and really, I was trying to coach him on how he's gonna communicate this with his stakeholders, and I'm asking him some questions and trying to guide him and help him to understand how he's gonna communicate. I mean, I can't do that for him. He has to figure it out, but put him in that position. And as we were driving home, my wife asked why I was asking some of those questions, and really it came down to, number one, for me to truly understand where he was, but also for him to understand things from a different perspective as well, to give it to be able to do that. But I can't help him if I don't truly understand what he's thinking and what
Mhm.
some of those other pieces are that we don't never really talk about, in our coaching relationship. So he can understand, so I can understand better to help him in those types of things. And I think a lot of times in some of the coaching things that we do, we kind of get lost in the what's the narrow focus of what's right in front of us and not look at that bigger picture as well.
Mhm. Well, it happens a lot because we get tunnel vision
Mhm,
and we have blinders on. And a lot of the time, unless we've unless we've experienced something or unless we've
mhm,
known somebody that's experienced something, we really can't step outside of our realm of the known.
mhm,
We don't even know what that looks like out in the gray area we've never been in.
mhm.
But that's where we learn the most. And so stepping back, and it's like this. A lot of people they can't see the forest for the
Forest for the
trees
trees, yeah.
because they're standing right in the forest and all they see is the trees.
Mhm,
But if you come back across the open field, you can look and there's a forest over there. From a helicopter, you can see the forest. But if you're in it, you just see trees.
exactly.
And so a lot of times that's what makes coaching so dynamic. And that's the coaching approach I bring to my
Mhm,
clients when we coach all over the country is I'm not in the trees.
right,
So I have a total different
mhm,
perspective than they do. And that's why I have coaches in my life because I need another
right,
perspective from what I see because I'm too close to mine. And I need people to pull me out of my own way sometimes and help me see things clearer. So that's why I have 4 or 5 coaches, high level coaches in my life,
mhm,
leveling me to a level. And that's why I coach super high level people to level them up.
right, right. And that kinda gets into the whole idea, a lot of times people equate confidence, with being loud and polished.
Mhm.
Uh, where where do most people get the whole idea of confidence wrong?
So confidence is not built by standing in the mirror and giving yourself affirmations every morning. I know that sounds
Right.
real cool on YouTube, but that's not going to give you confidence. It's going to help you say whatever you say better. I
Mhm.
practice my speeches when I do my talks in my mirror
Oh, yeah.
because I want to see how my head looks. I want to see how my face looks. I want to know that facial expression actually go with what I just said. But see, that's not building confidence. That's just building knowledge of how I look when I talk.
Right.
Confidence, I just did a thing on this so they put it on YouTube. Confidence is built by action. And see, if you're overconfident, you're going to take an action and fail and it's going to destroy you.
Mhm.
If you're underconfident, you won't ever take an action and that will
Right.
destroy you as well.
Yes.
But if you're confident, you can take an action understanding you're going to fail, learn from it, and then do it again.
Mhm.
Fail a little less, learn from it, do it again. And over time with repetition, I'm talking reputation, repetitions, you will gain an unbelievable amount of confidence because you've developed a cognitive repertoire of over and over and over. And now you understand how to do it without failing.
Mhm.
That's how you build confidence, just doing it.
Right.
It's like public speaking.
Right.
You cannot get good at that standing in front of a mirror. I don't care what nobody tells you. That's a lie because the first time you step on stage and you look out at 3,000 people, your stomach's going to go up into your neurological cortex and you're going to pass out. That's just reality. But if you've actually spoke in front of 100 people, 50 people, 20 people, over and over and over, when you stand now in front of 3,000, it's no different than 100.
Right.
You're just talking to the one person on the row you can see. I can't even see the people in the back room.
Right.
But I've developed confidence in being on stages because I know I'm talking to some person in that audience that's going to get help. And I'm not talking to 3,000 people. I'm picking one or two people in that audience and I'm able to convey my message to them.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm doing. So 3,000 or 50,000, the number don't matter at this point because I've built the confidence to do it.
So, Chris, let's break that down even a little bit further. You mentioned that you're talking to the people in the front row or the one person here. That part of that confidence is also being able to just have a regular conversation with somebody, right?
Yeah.
It's being able to have that interpersonal interaction. You can't have horrible personal interaction and be good on stage. That doesn't. There's no translation there at all.
No. Well, it's like this. So I've had several people tell me they can't make videos, my clients.
Mhm.
Man, I can't post videos like you, Chris. I can't throw it out on YouTube. I'm scared to death. That's why are you scared? I mean, are your teeth bad? I mean, hey, these four right here's fake, baby.
Stop! You make me laugh.
I
I
mean,
remember your story, right?
yeah, like these are
Uh-huh.
fake, like for real. And
Uh-huh.
like drugs eat them up. And so this one is a little bit longer than this one because the dentist didn't make it quite right. So it looks retarded to me. But who cares? Just do it, man. You know, my hat might not be on straight. I may have a little shuggy beard this morning. But see, people look at all that and it derails them because they think they have to do it perfect.
Mhm.
You don't have to be perfect if you actually make the video with the motivation of, I'm speaking to one person on YouTube, one person only. I'm not talking to 10,000.
Right.
I'm speaking to Tim Newman on YouTube, and I'm giving information in a conversational way that's going to help him level up his life. See, if you take that fear and you bring it into you're only talking to a person and you're just having, and here's what I say, find a person in your mind that you would give your talk to or you would communicate to the truths you want to say. And when you talk to a crowd or a YouTube video camera, imagine yourself speaking directly to that person
Mhm.
as if you're their friend and comrade and you want to see them win.
Right.
That's it.
That's it. And again, Chris, you really nailed it. It comes down to, what are we here for, right? We're here to help others. We're here to pour value into others. We're here to, help them become who who they should be, right? And if it's really kind of selfish, I think, and it's taken me, trust me, it's taken me a long time to get to this point. And again, I don't know about you, but I still have that voice in my head that tells me, "Hold on, you're not quite ready," or "Hold on, you don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. You gotta get better at this. You gotta get better at that." But, to me, it's kinda selfish if we have something that we know that can help somebody else and we hold that back
Mm-hmm.
and don't help them. So let
Well,
it go. Let it go.
yeah, let it go. And here's what I tell people. And so you got to realize you're really a marketer that just does it in communication.
Right.
You're a marketing company that just happens to teach communication. I'm a marketing company that just happens to teach personality traits, human behavior, high level sales skills, leadership ability. And so what we're doing is I tell people all the time, if you've got something that somebody else needs and you're unwilling to give it because of fear, that is criminal negligence. That's what it is.
Mhm.
Solomon, if you look in the book of in the Old Testament, in all the books with Solomon in it, where, David and Solomon and all, and, the whole story, right? If you look at Solomon's life, he literally, when the Queen of Sheba come over, she said the half had not been told. Well, the Queen of Sheba's from the other side of the world. How did she hear about Solomon? But there was no internet. There wasn't phones. There wasn't
Right.
telegraphs. He was literally making the Bible said he made 3,000, and we would equate to videos. And he give out knowledge, and he actually charged people. If you look in the Bible now, he charged people. They brought him silver and gold and horses and
Mhm.
stuff and paid him to sit beneath him to learn. Now, if he took, Solomon, wisest man on earth, according to the Bible, he did not hoard that information up only for himself. He gave it out to the world, made a ton of money doing it, and helped hundreds of thousands of people, to the point a queen floated all the way across the world to come just sit at his feet and see what
Mhm.
God's wisdom looks like up close.
Right.
So think about that. If the wisest man on earth literally give his knowledge out to everybody he could, I think that's the recipe. We give
You
our
think
knowledge out,
right.
and then people pay you for it when they realize it's good.
It's good. But it's also personal, right? And
Yeah.
let's take this a step further. And because, you know, when we're looking at young people or early career professionals, right? They struggle so much in communication. They're and I don't know if you and I have had this conversation, but, you know, to me, the Gen Z population, they're the smartest generation I've ever worked with. They're the most entrepreneurial generation I've ever worked with, but they're also the worst communicators, right? So why is it that they struggle so much in communication and interviews and networking events and team meetings and all these places where, they're hired because of their knowledge. They're hired because of their skills, because they can do these things. But why do they struggle so much in communication when they're as smart as they are?
This will probably be controversial, and it's okay. I like being controversial sometimes. Drives up ratings.
I need ratings. Come on, guys. Need ratings.
They have been taught to be isolated.
Yeah.
They have been taught to be unhumanized. They have been taught to be 100% relatable and only functionable on a digital platform.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they can't have a conversation outside of an email or a text. They don't know what it's like to have human interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, so the world system, this ain't a Bible class, but I mean, hey, we're going back to the Bible. So sorry if you don't like the Bible, take it up with Tim.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. So God created humans for interaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he said Adam needed to help meet. That's why he sent the disciples out 2 by 2, because you need human interaction. We are emotional beings that have to have emotional connection. We have to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what your personality type is. I don't care what you say. Human interaction heals people faster than anything else. Think about a prisoner. They can only put a prisoner in a dark, solitary place for a limited time because it'll drive him insane.
Stop right there. Stop right there, because I'm glad you brought that up, because that's where I was going to go. That's why when they put somebody in solitary confinement, that's why it's a severe punishment. And like you said, they can only put them there for a certain amount of time, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
By
I'm
law.
sorry.
This is a godless society that knows when you put a man or woman in solitary confinement, they will literally go insane. So they created laws to give them timelines where they can't exceed a certain amount of time. But we've created a generation. COVID helped really, really fuel this. The Project COVID, right? So they literally created a situation called COVID that isolated human beings. I don't know that we've ever recovered from it. I know the younger generation didn't recover from it. They were already in the technological age, and COVID pushed them even further into it. And so now to have human interaction and to actually have an in-person interview, they don't know what that's like to look another human in the face and make eye contact and actually shake hands with intentionality and not be limp wristed and not be gentle, like be really firm in your handshake and be really connected in the eyes and sit with your knees facing the person you're talking to and not to sit with your arms crossed, like they don't know any of these small little maneuvers. They've never been taught. And so what you're doing is epic. If people will watch these podcasts and actually pay attention and learn high level speaking and communication. Speaking is not just from stage. See, you speak every day. We communicate every day. And some of the highest paid people, I just hit a thing I want to tell you. Okay. There's 4 levels of wealth. Okay. I'm going to help the younger generation here. 4 levels of wealth. One is the implementation. So that's the people that dig the ditches, flip the hamburgers, wash the cars, do all the stuff.
As you go through these 4 levels, I want us to say if we've been there, so that people understand that we didn't just wake up one day and start to become coaches, right? Mm-hmm. And help people here. So in this first level, I've been there.
Yeah, me too.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so the implementation level, they'll make anywhere from 30,000 a year, maybe up to maybe 50, 60,000 a year. Okay. Maybe 80 at a high level. Then you've got the next level of the managerial level. Okay. So at this level, you're going to make anywhere from 75, 80 grand up to maybe a couple 100,000, depending on your level of managerial skill. Maybe $500,000, if you're like a general manager of a company, right? All right, when you get to the third level, that's the communication level. Mm-hmm. When you make your money by moving your lips, you can go from $500,000 a year up to maybe 10 or 20 million a year at the top tier, just by talking, okay? The fourth and highest level is imagination. This is where Elon Musk lives. This is where Donald Trump lives. When you can imagine going to the moon and then communicate that. Think about when we say Apple phone, who comes to mind?
Steve Jobs.
Do you know Steve Jobs did not invent the Apple phone?
Yes.
But here's what he did. He communicated how it could benefit your life. So Steve Jobs is the only person you remember because he communicated to your emotion. And now we all have a bunch of iPhones. I don't know where mine is right now, but I have one somewhere. It's right here. So we all have an iPhone because Steve Jobs communicated to our emotion on why the phone would change your life. But there was a bunch of people responsible for the imagination and the creation of the iPhone.
Right.
And see, they're making money. Elon Musk, like him or not, don't really care. He's making trillions of dollars because he understands the law of imagination.
Right.
Donald Trump imagines. So the higher you go on that tier, the more profit you can make for your family and for all the people you're going to leave an inheritance to, your legacy. So just think about that. What tier are you on right now, and how can you level up?
Right. And Chris, you spent your entire life working as an entrepreneur. I mean, you started businesses and now doing what you do. You started a business to help other businesses become better, right? And one of the things about, and maybe it's always been this way, maybe it's just as I get older, I forget stuff, but one of the issues with today's younger generation is they want it today, right? They want instant success today. But if you had to give a 22-year-old one communication rule to follow in every professional conversation, what would it be?
If I give a 22-year-old one piece of wisdom about communication, um, I would say study it, learn it, practice it, master it, and change your life. Like it's real simple, honestly. Like there's no quick fix to it. There's no ABC
Mhm,
formula. It's make it a priority, learn how to communicate at a super high level,
mhm.
master that art, that one thing alone. Learn your trade. That's cool. If you want to be a doctor, that's fine.
Right.
Be the greatest doctor you can be. But have you ever had a doctor that had really sorry bedside manners?
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
So would you rather go to a doctor that had really bad bedside manners and couldn't talk his way out of a wet paper bag, but he knew how to do surgery good? Or would you rather go to a doctor that knew how to do surgery good, but then also made you feel real good about it afterwards?
Yes. That's the
So
one.
learn communication, and then literally the sky's the limit. There's no lid to what you can do if you can communicate at a high level.
Mhm. But I like what you said, it takes work, it takes practice, and and again, this is for the audience here, just to kinda give you an example of this, um, last week I did a 5-minute presentation. It was just 5 minutes, Chris, 5 minutes, and you understand how much work I put into a 5-minute presentation, but I probably practiced it for about 20 hours, probably, right? Um, and one of the things that I haven't had time to do it yet, but it's on my, calendar to do this week, is to pull that video and critique myself and say, "Okay, this was good. I need to work on this. I need to do better here." It takes work. It takes practice. It doesn't just happen overnight. And, I had a conversation yesterday with somebody as well, right before I talked to you. I said, I've been talking as a profession for 30 years. And I would say I'm okay at it. I'm me. When I stand and I talk to somebody, whether it's on stage, whether it's in front of a classroom, whether it's something like this, whether it's a one-on conversation, what you get, no matter what, is you get somebody that's real. There's no fake there. And the reality is that takes work too, because we have to get
Uh-huh.
rid of that inner dialogue, monologue, whatever it is, that telling us we have to be somebody that we're not. It takes work and takes practice. Don't think it's going to happen today, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. All good things come to them that wait, like literally, and nothing good comes in a microwave. I'm just saying, it don't. I know it's edible, I get it, but it ain't good.
Right.
Like, so think about your life, and if you were to go from 80 pounds of literal physical weight and
Mhm.
could bench press, 40, 50 pounds, and in literally 2 months, you could bench press 400 pounds. Let's just think about this. You would literally break all your bones in your shoulders. You would collapse your chest. You would shatter your shoulder blades, because even though your muscles were strong enough to hold up 400 pounds, your interior body was not. You're an 80-pound guy that can bench press 400. Your interior, you could not handle the weight of it. Okay. Just like when somebody takes and they weigh 400 pounds and they get the stomach shrunk thing, and then they lose 250 pounds in 6 months, right?
Mhm.
I've seen people do this, like literally. Now their skin is hanging off. Why? Because they didn't shrink over time.
Fine.
They shrunk in a hurry. So in your life, it's it is a race, because you don't know you don't know when your next breath's going to run out. It is a race. It is, be intentional, be diligent, But man, if you're 18, just plan your life. If you're 25, plan your life. If you're 35, plan your life. And if you don't have it today, it's okay. Just keep working toward it. The Bible says the diligent shall prosper. So be diligent. That just means keep doing it
Keep doing
until
it.
you prosper.
Right. Right. You said something in our one of our many talks uh, about goals, and how goals aren't meant to be hit; they're meant to transform you. And
Yeah.
again, that was another thing that really kind of hit me as something to truly think about. But how does that mindset change the way someone actually communicates?
Well, okay. So if you set a goal, all right, and you don't hit it, is that discouraging?
Yes.
It can be devastating, especially
Yes.
if it happens year over year over year.
Right.
All right.
Mhm.
What if you set a goal and you hit it? That's more discouraging. because because now, well, crap, I shot way too low.
Right.
I did that one year in business. I had to redo my goal 4 times from September to December. And I kept hitting it. And finally in December, I made it astronomical where I couldn't hit it again. And I was like, dude, you've hit this stupid thing 4 times since September. Like, come on, man, set a real goal that you can't hit.
Right.
And anyway, here's the logic behind it. We're not on a goal-oriented life plan. Because when you hit the goal, what's next? Another goal? Okay,
Another
you
goal.
hit what's
Mhm.
next? What's next?
Mhm.
So what I try to teach people is a growth plan. You're growing every day. You're getting better every day. So if you don't have a goal oriented mind, but you have a growth oriented mind, you never hit the goal. Now, set the goal, okay? Don't get this twisted, okay? Set the goal. Set a goal. But make the goal so astronomical there's no way on earth you can hit the goal. The goal is not intended to be hit. It's intended to transform your journey so that you will go way further than you ever would have went without the
Mhm.
goal.
Right.
So when I set a 7-figure year this year for this new endeavor I'm on, I don't know I'm going to hit that. Now, I'm aiming for it. Now, I mean, I've got a plan for it. But if I don't hit it, I'm okay, because if I land at 700 or 650, I'm okay, because I have been transformed over 12 months to be a different version of myself than I am today, because the man I am today can't do that number. I have to change. I have to transform. I have to learn. I have to be stretched in order to get anywhere near that number. I have to change. The number is only there for me to create transformational journey. That's it. And to grow every day. And the reality of it is if I'm the same man tomorrow that I am today, that means tomorrow I'm a worse version of myself because I'm a day older and I'm not a bit better.
Right. I use a version of that line, of that thinking. If, like you said, if you're the same person today as you were yesterday, you're doing it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not growing. You haven't learned anything yet. You haven't grown. You haven't transformed. And it's that, to me, it's that excuse me, it's that uncomfortableness, that whatever the tension, whatever you want to call it, that you feel, the frustration. That's the learning happening. That's the transformation actually happening, to go from point A to point B to point C, to cross the bridge, however you want to look at it. It's okay to have that uncomfortable feeling, that
Well, well,
tension.
well, look at this. So just today, like this is fresh out the oven. Just
Mhm.
today, I was watching a YouTube video, and a man mentioned a thing called intelligence training. I said, what is that?
Uh,
I ain't never heard of that.
mhm.
Like, okay. Let me, stop, back up, repeat. What'd you just
Right.
say? Intelligence training. And a young lady asked a question. She said, I read a page of a book and I can't remember what it was. He said, you need intelligence training. He said, your brain is a muscle and you need to exercise your muscle.
Mhm.
I said, okay, I get that. I can get
I
on
get
with
that.
that.
Mhm.
So I said, well, let me try it. Said, pull 15 words, random words. So I went in Chat GPT and put in, hey, give me 15 random words for an intelligence training exercise. It did it. I did the exercise. Out of 15 words, I could only remember 5 of them. I said, man, that seems horrible. And so now I have been exposed to the fact that my brain has become lazy because it's not memorizing, because we got everybody's number in our phone. We got Chat
Mhm.
GPT helping us with stuff. We got things on speed dial. We got things on auto repeat we don't have to think about. So my
Right.
brain has become lazy. I literally just learned that today. As smart as I think I am, my brain has taken a vacation.
Right.
So now I'm on a 30-day challenge to do intensive intelligence training to bring my cognitive memory back to where it should be, to memorize stuff, to be able to recall in an instant things,
Mhm.
because I'm not where I should be. I was made aware of that today, and so I have to change.
That makes me think, and you were in the room, well, at least I believe you were in the room when I heard this. John Maxwell's 78 years old, and he's in the process. It's he's writing 3 books at the same time, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
He's writing 3 books at the same time, let alone what he's reading, let alone all these other things. He knows more about AI at 78 years old than most people do because of what he does, because of his discipline in continuous improvement. And it blows me away, because I'm along the same lines as you, continuous improvement, learning something, getting better, you know, learning things that we don't even know about. I'm not talking about learning our craft because that to me, that's a given, but learning something new outside of what you would normally do. This man, 78 years old, right? He's writing 3 books and knows more about AI than most people. Um, that to me is what we should be
Mm-hmm.
looking at. That's the key. And I think if we could back up, my last semester teaching, I had a student who he's a fairly good speaker, for being 21 years old. And after class one day, I said, can I give you a piece of advice that's going to make you just a little bit better? He said, no, doc, I'm good. I said, well, this isn't something you're going to have to put a whole lot of time or effort into. I said, it's something easy to change. He said, doc, I'm good. I don't need to get any better. And that's the mindset that I think really we have that to 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 change or transform, because, you know, again, when you look at it from our perspective, we've got to be able to bridge that communication gap so that the younger generation understands that they've got to get better. We have to understand that we have to learn how to communicate with them and find a true way forward as we move forward in communication skills.
I agree wholeheartedly. We got to change. We just got
So,
to change.
what does speaking with confidence actually mean to you, but beyond the words, as we wrap this up?
It's your posture, your mannerisms.
Mhm.
It's how you speak with clarity. Um, it actually is. It's the words you don't say, because you don't have to say everything, which I've learned over a year of training. Uh, Everything in a story is not relevant. Everything that you think people need to know, they really don't need to know it. And the more confident you get, the more deliberate the words are, and the more deliberate you leave words out.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking with clarity is a lot more than just, or with confidence is a lot more than speaking. It's mannerisms, it's mindset, it's tonality, it's the cadence in which you say the words. And the words are very, very minimal to the actual message.
Right.
Everything else compiled really outweigh the words by like 70 to 30. Because if you're saying words and you don't believe the words you're saying, your body will tell the audience that you're lying.
That's a really good point.
Your face will tell the audience you don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
So confidence is when the words match everything around them and it all makes a really beautiful cake. And
Yeah.
you can serve that to people and they can eat it and enjoy it. That's when you have true confidence.
You're absolutely right. You know, I love that line. Your body language is going to tell is going to
It's going to
it's
tell
either
on
going
you.
to prove you right or it's going to prove you wrong.
Right.
You know, and that's the bottom line, Chris. That's awesome. Where can people connect with you?
So I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube channel. You can look up Chris Johnson. There's a ton of Chris Johnson. So maybe it's easier to
Wait a
go
second. You're
Chris
not the only
Johnson
Chris Johnson in the
leadership.
world.
Huh?
You're not the only Chris Johnson in the world.
Lord, no. No, God. There's a ton of them. So Chris Johnson Leadership Services is one of the best ways to find me because that's the only one of those there are. And so listen, I do business coaching, training, speaking. I'd love to help serve you in any way I can. I know Tim does it as well. So look us up, find us, like us, subscribe to our channel, ring the little notification bell on YouTube. Hey, man, that helps so much. Comment on my stuff, and I will comment back. And thank you, Tim, for this opportunity. I really appreciate it, man.
No worries, and I'll put those links in the show notes. But before we go, I do want to let people know they got to go to your YouTube channel because you're doing some really good work there. I've seen some of your stuff. You know, you taught me some things the other day, and I appreciate that. But you know, check Chris out. He's got a ton of information that can help you. And Chris, I number one, can't thank you enough for spending some time with the Speaking with Confidence community. Can't thank you enough for your friendship and leadership and mentorship. And I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, buddy.
Be sure to visit speakingwithconfidencepodcast.com to get your free ebook, Top 21 Challenges for Public Speakers and How to Overcome Them. You can also register for the Formula for Public Speaking course. Always remember, your voice has the power to change the world. We'll talk to you next time. Take care.
See ya.